What's up everybody, it's your boy Code102 aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Today I'd like to discuss potentials for the Defensive Player of the Year. This is a very important award as defense in the NBA is a dying breed, I guess you could say, with teams scoring more and more points. The offense is getting better, but the defense is kind of getting left behind. But in saying that, there's a lot of defensive players out there that don't get recognition just because maybe their offense isn't good, or that they're just a one-sided player and they lack in a lot of other places. But defense in the NBA is very important. Growing up, I may not be the greatest basketball player, but the one thing I've always went by is defense wins championships. So it's important that you have a defensive presence in the team, otherwise your team's not going to win any championships. So in saying that, there's a lot of defensive players that deserve their recognition, as do most players in the videos that I say. They deserve a lot of recognition. Um, I'm not going to show any stats in this video just because I see defense in two different ways really. I see the perimeter defense and then the interior defense in the paint, and the perimeter defense. And going on based on which one you think is more important will kind of determine or shape who you think is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. So I'm just going to go through a couple of players, explain what I like about them in terms of their defense, and we'll go on from there. I want to start off with an Australian-made player, Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons is a fantastic defensive player. I think he tries very hard on the defensive end. He's athletic, he's tall, and he has everything you could want in a defensive player. Yes, his offense isn't, well, maybe his shooting, I guess you could say. His offense is pretty good besides the shooting. Yeah, he can have that to improve on, but when it comes to his defense, there's so much that he's improved on. He's one of the best at steals as well. He's a very good perimeter defender, so he deserves his props. Also about Patrick Beverley, from Chicago. He's the type of guy that you always want in your team, but you hate when he's on the other team, because he loves the trash talk, he loves the grit and the grind, he loves the hard effort plays, and he's a unique individual in this day and age. He's old school, I guess you could say. So he deserves a lot of recognition as well. Again, his offense might not be all there, but I reckon if you take Patrick Beverley out of that team, the Clippers are nowhere near a good defensive team compared to what they are now with him there. So props to Pat Bev. I know he works very hard on his defense and he prides himself on that. So he's gonna have to. He's going to get what he deserves at the end of the day. People always recognize him for his defense. Maybe he won't win a Defensive Player of the Year award, but in my eyes, I think he's one of those players that really does deserve it. Other players, like Jimmy Butler, I would say as well. Jimmy Butler's a very, very important player to the Miami Heat, but that's mainly for his defense. I mean, offense is there. I mean, Miami Heat's offense is pretty good, to be fair. But I think it's the defense that not only does he bring, but he gives that mentality to everybody else as well. Jimmy Butler's the type of guy, he's going to carry his presence around. He's going to make you know that you're there. And he plays on both sides of the ball. He even admitted it himself recently in a game against the Pacers. If anybody knows what happens with TJ Warren and Jimmy Butler, that's insane, isn't it? Anyway, he lets you know he's there on both ends of the court. But defensively, he's always there. I mean, he always guards the best player every night, and he's always scoring on the best players every night. So you got to give him his props as well. He might not be Defensive Player of the Year in terms of stats, but in terms of effort and who he guards every night, I mean, you can't argue that he's definitely one of the best defensive players as well. Another player that I want to mention, even though it's nothing to do with Defensive Player of the Year because he has been injured, I really want to give props to Klay Thompson as well. I think Klay Thompson's an extremely underrated defender. Now, I know this is a Defensive Player of the Year video, so I'm going to not say much about Klay Thompson, but I think give the man his credit. He deserves credit. So there are obviously the players that you see in this video. You got Paul George. I mean, there's no question about Paul George. He's one, if not the best two-way players, along with his partner in crime, Kawhi Leonard. Both of them are probably the best two-way players you could possibly ask for on a team. They're superstars. They're talented as hell. And they're the main reasons that the Clippers have a chance of winning a championship this season. You can't complain about that. When you play both sides of the ball, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be the worst player in the world, you could be the best player in the world, but if you play both sides of the ball and you try your absolute heart out, there's no reason why you can't be good at basketball. And these two are shining examples, because I think at the start of both of their careers, they weren't going to be what everybody expected them to be. Paul George, I don't think anybody expected Paul George to be a superstar when he was in the Pacers. He was following behind the footsteps of Danny Granger, but look what he became. And the reason why, and this goes for Jimmy Butler as well, they play both sides of the ball and they play extremely hard every night. That's you're going to get what you deserve when you do that. When you have an amazing work ethic and you try on both ends, you're only going to get the best out of yourselves and the best out of your career. So you got Paul George, you got Kawhi Leonard, and I think Kawhi Leonard probably has a good chance of winning it as well. I'm not sure about PG this season. He's been out for a lot, and Kawhi maybe even you could say just based on not playing double doubles and all that, back-to-back sorries. So you could potentially say that they're both not going to win it, but they deserve the recognition. Also, a big shout out to Rudy Gobert. I mean, you know exactly what you're going to get out of Rudy Gobert. Probably the best interior defender in the NBA, bar none. I mean, it's insane. This guy, the amount of blocks he gets, his presence is known. And it's people try to go for him and they fail. People try to show that he's not a good defender. Or they just try to show that he can be good at. He can get posterized. And the odd occasion he does, but most of the time, man, he just sends that shit away. So what do you expect? Even with Joel Embiid, I think Joel Embiid, from where you looked at him at the start of his career to now, different player completely on offense and defense, but especially defense, man. I didn't think he would stay healthy enough to be able to play consecutively and get defensive stops. I thought when he first came into the league, just his injuries and his health alone will kind of make him take breaks on certain plays. But he doesn't, man. Every single play he plays, he gives it his all. So Joel Embiid as well, he deserves recognition. Now to go to the main contenders in my eyes, I guess you could say. I want to go for Giannis as one. I think Giannis is just an animal. Like, I think he's truly, if he's not the best player, he's definitely in the top two to me, behind LeBron. But that's people each to their own. But I think defensively is what really makes this player shine, because anybody can attack. Maybe not as good as him because he's unstoppable when he gets into the paint. But his defense is crazy, man. He's a gift. He's really a gift to the NBA. He can steal, he can block, he can run, chase down. Anything you want from him, he can do. He can do absolutely everything on that court, and he actually tries as well. A lot of players that you see today, they have everything in their locker. They have the talent, they have everything that they need to succeed in the NBA. But it just depends on how they use it. And I think Giannis is a shining example of how to use your talent well, have a hard work ethic. Especially, I think it's important, even from where he was from and the type of life he had to go through in order to show how valuable he is. It's just a blessing to have him in the NBA. So fair play to Giannis. I definitely think he's a contender to win Defensive Player of the Year. Another player, I don't think he's going to win it, but you know, Draymond Green's always in the conversation. I think you got to give Draymond Green his props. I mean, the guy's crazy, really. Like, it's just insane, honestly. And then the number one guy, the guy that I think is going to win the Defensive Player of the Year, is Anthony Davis. Now, this might be hype, but I'm gonna follow the hype. I think Anthony Davis, in his first year in the Lakers, has improved in every single way, and he's staying healthy as well. I know he recently got a back bruise and he's out for a couple of games, but those couple of games shouldn't matter if he stays healthy the rest of the season. He's second in blocks and all of that. He's plus 10 in defensive plus minus. You could say everything you want about Anthony Davis defensively. I mean, the guy is unstoppable. So, and he's only getting better. Just imagine what it's going to be like next year and the year after. I truly believe that Anthony Davis is that guy. He's a Defensive Player of the Year. The hype is all over him. LeBron and all them, they celebrate his hype. And I'm going to follow that. I'm going to follow the hype. I'm going to say that Anthony Davis wins Defensive Player of the Year. Let me know what you guys think. This video was a little bit fun to make, maybe because I didn't have to look at stats, because at the end of the day, it's all about how you perceive what defense is in the NBA, and I think Anthony Davis is a shining light on defense. This is Code 102.